What's going on, football fam? My name is Dave Sarner, and welcome to another edition of the Rise and Fall Fantasy Football Show, Week 9 edition. Now, in this week's games, we're going to be going over every single game on the Week 9 docket, as always. So just so you know, we cover one episode per game this week, so there's going to be a lot of episodes coming your way. So make sure that you subscribe to the channel, ring that bell so you'll get notified when all of my videos go live, and then you'll have all that content ready for this Sunday. Now, with all that being said, enjoy the episode for Week 9. On today's episode, we're finally into the 4 o'clock window here, and we're going to start off with the 4:05 matchup between the Las Vegas Raiders and the Los Angeles Chargers in what is going to be, hopefully, a high-powered divisional matchup here. The Chargers are 1.5-point home favorites here. The over-under for this game is 54. I do think that's an over, and let's talk about why. The Raiders and the Chargers are letting up huge points to running backs this year. The Raiders are giving up the 5th most points, while the Chargers are giving up the 10th most points. So looking into these matchups here, there are a lot of weak points in these defenses that do tell me that there should be some fantasy points that should be available for you guys in this matchup. Now, let's start with the Raiders, since they are the away team heading into Los Angeles here. Las Vegas, Derek Carr and company starting to step up a little bit, but last week, not as much of an offensive performance here, but they got the W against Cleveland. Josh Jacobs with 12 points, 31 carries for 128 yards, no touchdowns. I mean, if he got that touchdown on the 3 goal line carries, it would have been so much better of a day, about 18 points and a half-point PPR. Unfortunately, didn't. Still a solid day, and guess what? He has a chance to redeem himself this week, as the Chargers are giving up the 10th most points to running backs. I love Josh Jacobs this week. He's going to be high on my list. Right now, I have him at number 5. So you're going to start Josh Jacobs in this matchup here. He should get the volume and the production to match and get you a nice solid day here. I expect this to be one of the highest scoring games of the week. Derek Carr, by the way, going up against the Chargers, 6th most points against quarterbacks the Chargers are giving up. I love Derek Carr this week. I think he is a nice sleeper. He's definitely a DFS play if I've ever seen one. This week in particular, I have him at number 11, just behind Matthew Stafford and Lamar Jackson. And you could convince me that maybe you would start to Derek Carr over Lamar Jackson. I don't think I would tell you to do so, but you could probably convince me. That's how good this matchup is. And it's not just the quarterback. Like we said, 10th most points to running backs, 10th most points to tight ends. And who is one of the best weapons on the Las Vegas offense? A tight end by the name of Darren Waller. Guys, he is a must-start of the week, in my opinion. Darren Waller should go off. Should absolutely go off. I have him extremely high. He's my number 1 ranked tight end this week in this matchup here. Him and Josh Jacobs, Derek Carr should all eat this week and should have a really strong matchup in a game they want to show up their division. This is a big game for them to come in, and Los Angeles is having all this luster and all these, all this kind of media attention, right? Because of Justin Herbert and company and so forth. Well, the Raiders are going to come in. They want to punch it down their throats. They've been playing pretty well in a lot of their matchups, and I think that they're going to get it done from a fantasy perspective this week. Love Derek Carr. Love Josh Jacobs this week. I love Darren Waller, number 1 on my list. And wide receivers, I don't hate Henry Ruggs and Hunter Renfrow. I just don't love them. I got Ruggs at 48. Too gimmicky for me right now. He needs to be more reliable as a volume type receiver for me to want to put him any higher. And then Hunter Renfrow on the other end, I have him at number 56. So I'm not big on them. And Chargers' toughest area in terms of their defense is the wide receiver. They're giving up the 21st most points to wide receivers, whereas the other positions, they're in top 10 in the most points giving up. So I'm going to go with the pass or the run game and the tight end position here. Josh Jacobs, Darren Waller, Derek Carr, boom. Throw them into your lineups. I love a Derek Carr, Darren Waller stack in DFS this week, by the way. Definitely going to be something I'm going to try out in a couple of my lineups. On the other side of things, the Chargers, now while the Raiders defense is better, it's not undoable, all right? It's not unwinnable on the Chargers end. They are giving up the 13th most points to quarterbacks, which for Justin Herbert is fine. He'll do good things this week. I still have him pretty high on my list, and he hasn't given me any reason to put him down, really. Have it number 6, above Kyler Murray in a tough matchup, above Josh Allen in a really good matchup. So that's how much confidence I'm getting in Justin Herbert to be able to keep him up there, because he is just putting up numbers. And I do think that we do see some production from a running back this week in the Los Angeles backfield. His name is Justin Jackson. I know Tremaine Pope kind of came out of nowhere and started vulturing Josh Kelly's production. That's kind of why I'm fading out Josh Kelly. I think Pope affects Kelly much, much more than he does Jackson. He doesn't affect Jackson's game. Jackson is the Eckler of this committee right now, the receiving back, and, so he's going to be involved. And like we said, they're not a great defense, but they're not a bad defense either. They are weak at running back, 5th most points giving up to the Chargers. And I know that could mean Josh Kelly or Tremaine Pope. I don't like the two of them. I don't know who's going to be this guy they like more. And they weren't exactly happy with the running backs going into this game. That's why you saw Pope. So that scares me for Joshua Kelly. I'm going to kind of fade him out. I think Justin Jackson is a more reliable option. And I do have him high on my list, 13th, above Damian Harris and Jermichael Hasty. These are guys who should have really good matchups and really good games, but I love Justin Jackson this week. I think you fire him up for the Chargers along with Herbert. Wide receivers are giving up to 20 most points to wide receivers and tight ends for the Raiders. Hunter Henry, Keenan Allen. You're going to start them because Hunter Henry, again, the position's really scarce. So his volume, his floor has gotten a little lower, but I do believe that he has a decent chance of getting some things going. I think this is going to be a high-scoring shootout, and so I do like Hunter Henry. I just don't love him. I have him at number 9, below Jonnu Smith, but above guys like Mike Gesicki, Evan Ingram, and Jared Cook. On the wide receiver end, we have Keenan Allen. Tougher matchup, but I still love it. I mean, if you're going to go out and tell me, if you're going to end up starting like Ruggs or Renfro in this matchup, then you better be starting Keenan Allen, right? Keenan Allen, number 7 this week, going up against the Raiders. Listen, as long as Herbert's there, volume's going to be there. Keenan Allen's a top 10 receiver every week as long as he's healthy. He's one of those kind of guys you ride out as long as he's healthy. He is the number 1 there, and there's no doubt about it. Now, the other guy, Mike Williams, it's tough, man, because he had the good week. Then he had the bad week that I predicted last week, and I was like, ha, I told you. And then he came back this week and had a big week again. What I like is that it seems like Justin Herbert's starting to get a little more comfortable with him, and that truly showed last week. What I don't like is a lot of boom and bust with him. This matchup could end up being a little bust, and I tell you why. Even though it should be a shootout, even though it should be a good matchup, I think Keenan Allen is going to be the target there. I think they're going to find a couple openings with Hunter Henry, and the run game is where they're going to have their that crack that they can get through the wall, if you will. And I think they're going to try to ride Justin Jackson. I think they're going to try to get the other running backs involved. I'm just staying away from those guys individually because the two of them in Pope and Kelly are kind of, basically reducing each other's production and potential. But I love Justin Jackson this week. I still like Keenan Allen. I still like Hunter Henry. As long as Herbert's your quarterback, feel fine starting these guys. Henry had a couple down weeks, so I'm not as high on him. I'm a little worried about that, but I think this could be an interesting bounce back week for him in a divisional matchup. However, the tight end to start this week is Darren Waller, and the running back to start this week is Josh Jacobs in this matchup. Love them. So, to recap here for the Raiders, we love Derek Carr. We love Josh Jacobs this week. We love Darren Waller. I'm not as high on the wide receivers this week. You can take a flyer if you need them. Go with Ruggs. I don't think they're going to play bad. I just don't think they're going to be like a must play, So if you have depth issues and you need to start Renfro or Ruggs, don't worry. I think they'll put up some commendable numbers for you. On the Chargers end, Justin Herbert, throw him into your lineup. Justin Jackson, throw him into your lineup. He'll be the running back that you want in there this week. Keenan Allen, you're going to start no matter what. Mike Williams, be cautious. I think it could be, again, boom and bust with this guy. It could be a bust week for him when the running back could end up being the focus and Keenan Allen's going to get a lot of those targets. We'll see. I don't know if that's how it's going to be. If there's consistency this week, I'm going to change my tone on Mike Williams. But for right now, let's assume the boomer busts because that's the way he rolls, and assume that he's not going to play that great this week, or he'll get hurt, or something weird will happen. I do also like Hunter Henry. He's number 9 on my list, so most likely if you have him, you're going to start him unless you have, him and Janu Smith, him and Robert Tonyan, him and TJ Hawkinson. I would start those 3 guys over Hunter Henry. Outside of that, I would start Hunter Henry over anyone else below obviously Mark Andrews, Noah Fant, Rob Gronkowski, Kelsey and Waller, you're also starting over